Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something huge, the difference between manual coding and vibe coding. We're talking about a profound shift that is literally changing how humanity interacts with complex systems. There's a quote from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. Where does humanity stand between control and emergence? It perfectly captures the tension of the tech era we're in right now. I mean, for decades, we've lived in this world of absolute, calculated control. But as you'll see today, we're crossing a threshold. We're moving away from that absolute control into, well, something entirely new.
Section 1. The Era of Manual Coding. To really grasp where we're going, we've got to understand this historical baseline first. Code used to be this refined decomposition of human thought engraved directly into machines by hand. So manual coding relies heavily on a reductionist worldview. Basically, it's the belief that reality consists of completely understandable smaller parts. It's like a giant puzzle, right? If you break something down far enough, you can explain the whole thing just by looking at its tiny components. In this setup, the developer acts as the absolute architect. You stand completely outside the system, looking in, and your code is just a direct, literal extension of your own will.
Think about the mindset of that absolute architect. You naturally ask questions like, where did the problem occur, or why is this value incorrect, or which condition caused the conflict? There's this obsessive, driving need to decompose thought into super precise, traceable structures. Every single problem has a distinct, identifiable cause. And finding that cause, well, that gives us a very strong, comforting sense of control over every single variable. No mysteries, just bugs waiting to be squashed.
But then, things shifted. Welcome to the vibe coding revolution. Artificial intelligence arrived and brought this completely disruptive new flow to that perfectly calculated world.
Instead of assembling everything piece by piece, humans aren't really writing the syntax anymore. Instead, we're providing direction. We're telling the AI, hey, give me a service with this kind of feeling, or I need a UX flow like this, or even create a structure with this atmosphere. So the human sets the flow, and the AI generates the precise results based on that vibe.
And this creates a massive paradigm shift. Just look at the contrast here. With manual coding, you're the absolute architect. The golden rule is understand first, then implement. But with vibe coding, you step into the role of a conductor. You're not playing every single instrument yourself anymore. You're guiding the orchestra's flows within the system. The new rule is all about emergence through interaction.
Now, the absolute crucial concept here is emergence. This refers to new forms of order that arise naturally through interactions. Forms you literally cannot fully explain just by looking at the individual components alone. In this new world of vibe coding, not everything is calculated in advance. Instead, order simply appears through the flow itself. It's organic rather than strictly mechanical.
But, okay, giving up that absolute control obviously comes with a catch, and it's a deeply psychological one. Humanity has lived for a very long time under this firm belief. If something cannot be fully understood, it cannot truly be controlled. Think about how much anxiety that sparks. I mean, when you're used to understanding and controlling every single line of code, suddenly letting go and trusting the flow, that can feel absolutely terrifying. It feels like a total loss of cognitive control.
Which leads us straight into the manual coder spheres, which, let's be honest, are totally understandable. Is vibe coding just a dangerous black box? If we don't completely understand the internal structure of the AI's output, aren't we building on a wildly unpredictable system? And by outsourcing the logic, does relying on vibe coding actually weaken human analytical thinking itself? These are serious, critical questions people are asking right now.
And you know what? This distrust goes both ways. Yes, the manual coder views vibe coding as dangerously unpredictable, relying way too much on a black box. But let's flip it around. The vibe coder looks at manual coding and sees this overly rigid micromanagement. They actually feel that the obsessive need to directly control and explain every single detail suppresses emergence. From their perspective, it's the classic problem of staring so closely at the individual trees that you completely lose sight of the entire forest. So, everyday emergence. How do we reconcile all this? Take a deep breath, because while this sounds like super high-level tech theory, the truth is we already deal with emergence every single day. Think about everyday reality, which our source text outlines brilliantly. We don't consciously command our hearts to beat, right? Yet they keep us alive. We don't calculate the physics equations of balance while riding a bicycle, but we stay upright. And we certainly don't logically design every step of our relationships, yet they grow anyway. Human life itself already operates on emergence.
Life isn't sustained through perfect, absolute control. It maintains its balance through interaction, a little bit of fluctuation, and partial uncertainty.
Bringing it back to tech, let's look at the future developer. What does this actually mean for you, the person sitting behind the keyboard?
Well, the real question isn't deciding which side is absolutely correct. It's asking, how much should we directly control, and where should we allow emergence to happen? The future developer is going to be someone who can synthesize these two worlds. Mastering reductionist precision when a situation demands it, and embracing holistic flow when reading the rhythm of a complex system. Ultimately, what we're talking about here transcends technology altogether. Past humanity needed complete understanding to feel secure. But future humanity? We might value something entirely different: the ability to maintain direction within a system that is way too complex to ever fully comprehend. The very definition of control is literally being rewritten.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly powerful thought to wrap up this explainer. As we move away from absolute micromanagement and into this new era of guided emergence, I really want you to ask yourself, can you maintain your direction in a system too complex to fully comprehend? Because whether it's in software development, AI, or just life itself, that is absolutely the core skill of the future. Thanks for tuning in, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.